Plenty of room in here, right? Look how strong I am. I can move this engine with one hand. Anyway, let me get this trailer out of here. Dun, dun, dun. This awesome 1955 F100 is about to go under the knife, and it's about to get a new engine, new transmission, and new front suspension, to name a few. If you come over here, there's the engine that's going in it, and we're hoping to do that today. But first things first, I need to move this truck over there. And that should be the last time this runs with that engine in it. All right, let's get started. Bumper, grill, core support, fenders, all of that out of here. What do they say about the Northeast? If you don't like the weather, just wait 5 minutes, it'll change. Yeah, well, last week we had 60 degrees. This week we have sub-zero temperatures, and it's crap, actually. So that's fine. We're gonna work through it, no worries. I have to get part of this bracket off. I'm gonna need this piece. But yeah, the power steering, the power steering, the straight axle, all of that's coming off. We're gonna get rid of this column. We're gonna have a new shaft riding on top of the frame that goes to the rack. So it's gonna be Mustang II front suspension. But I got a big mess to clean up, so give me a minute. Let me clean this up. Engine's out of the way, everything's fairly clean. The next step is going to be removing the front suspension because I have new suspension to put on it. And it's right here. This is basically a Mustang II front suspension designed not really universal. It's designed for another type of vehicle, but because the cross member is made of steel and very close to the measurements that we're using, we're gonna have no trouble adapting that to that. This is basically how it's gonna go. This perch and this cross member have to be correctly mounted in here. And not only do they have to be mounted in the right place, they have to be at the right height so that your final adjustment on the coilovers works when this truck is sitting on the ground fully loaded. And they give you measurements in that kit, but I can't use any of them because technically this kit fits a different frame. So for me, I have to basically re-engineer it. The only thing I'm not gonna do is reinvent the control arm mounting locations. I'm gonna use all of this exactly the same. I just have to get this frame and these top coil perches in the exact right spot. So there's gonna be quite a bit of screwing around to figure that out. And I'm gonna have to change the shape of this. Plus I'm gonna cut this off and box this frame so that it's strong, because right now it's not. So let me figure this out and then I'll start cutting this off. So just eyeballing the thing right now, the way that this looks, this rack mounts directly to this cross member. This cross member welds between the frame rails, and then you set the spring perches based on the location of this. And the location of this is determined by the center of the spindle. So once I arrive at all of that, my issue for right now, and I'm sure it'll be 3 different issues by the time we're done, but it's going to be track width. Now this is adjustable track width, like an inch or 2, but that's just by moving the suspension components a little bit. That's not how I'm doing it, because this truck is way wider than this front end, and I mean a lot, like 7 inches. So my first thought is, where this rack mounts to this cross member, I'm going to take these 2 mounts, cut them off, cut this right down the middle, widen it, section it, and make it so that I'll sleeve it and weld it so that it fits the frame perfect, with the track width being identical to what the truck arrived with. It's like 57 inches or something like that. Right now in this mock-up stage, this is like 51, 50. So it's, you know, it's 6 to 8 inches that I have to widen this. But in widening this, it will also give me a lot more clearance for the bottom of the Coyote motor. It'll give me good frame attachment points, Like there's a lot of good, and the suspension will be amazing. Like, you know, it's almost as good as Crown Vic front end, but a little better. But either way, there's a whole bunch of reverse engineering going on with this in order to get this exactly right. I'm glad it has detailed instructions that talk about angles, because those are crucial when you're doing something like this. You don't just hack it together and hope it, because it won't steer right. So that's important. I'm going to make a small list of steel that I'm going to need to do this. Once I get it widened, I'll mark the frame, pull the suspension off, and offer this up and start to determine my centers and my degrees of angle. So there's quite a bit here. Battery's about dead, but that's it for right now, and I'll start mocking it up tomorrow. Now I just have to make this out of steel twice, and I can box in these frame sections and bring the cradle over and start to get that set. But first I had to strengthen this, because once you put a Coyote in here and good suspension, this thing's just going to roll over on itself, and this will stop that. 3/16 plate for the inside. I got the frame section boxed in, and it looks really good. It's all strong and secure all the way back, close enough to the front support. Like, this is a good, strong frame addition now. We've widened that cross member, plated the bottom of it. I still need to work out the pickup points for the rack, which is no big deal. I already got a working theory on that. Our spindle height, ride height, and center to center measurement is good. So for today, that's going to do it. I've been out here all day welding and grinding and measuring, and but as you can see, that's sitting the way it needs to sit, which I'm pretty excited about it. The top control arm is going to end up being on these coil buckets. It's going to end up being on these coil buckets. I'll end up notching them something like this, and then they'll sit down directly above, and I'll get the caster set correctly, about 3 degrees, and we should be good. We should be getting this thing back on its wheels. Once I set wheels on it, I'm going to go over there. The engine is over here somewhere. There's the engine. We're going to get that engine, strip all the nonsense off it, and get it set down in the frame. We're going to use the same type of mounts that we used on this Bronco, which I don't know if you can see them in there. They're in there. But we're going to use those when the time comes. But pretty excited. Good day today. I'll be back out here to get this thing setting on its wheels, and that's exciting. So hang on a second. It's pretty cool when the table that was carrying all the parts no longer has as many parts on it, because they're in there now, which is very cool. This is the mounts are welded. They're just not 100% all the way around. I have everything mocked up. So what I'm going to do is assemble the hubs and stick the wheels on it and let it set and find out how we're doing. Before I commit to all of the final welding, let's get a ride height. But we're fully adjustable caster and camber, so we're in good shape there. Say now, wait a minute. That's not the green 1955 F100. No, that's the Bronco that we're doing, and you can see the full build on this channel. There's multiple videos. One that we just released showing the full suspension rebuild and how awesome this thing is. I encourage you to go check that video out. It's a lot of fun. But back to the Harrow hauler. We've come a long way on this one in a short amount of time. We've still got a long way to go on both these trucks, but they're both moving in the right direction. I am having a good time. I'm having fun doing them. I love bringing this truck into the modern era, being a part of its history. I love the stance on this truck, how it came out, the way it's going to drive. It's just going to be so much fun. I can't wait to drive it down the freeway and just mash the gas and listen to it sing off into the distance. It's going to be great. Thing's going to be a dream to drive. So that's where we're going to have to leave it for this episode. I encourage you to go back, take a look at some of the other videos, take a look at the Bronco build and the amazing stuff happening there, the international truck that was just recently done. There's always a bunch of cool stuff happening on the channel, so I encourage you to go look at some of those old videos. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share. Be sure to check in every once in a while, see what's going on. But thanks, and I'll see you soon.